We've been looking at data from Cox Automotive. Recently, we see used car prices are dropping. Is it in fact time to buy?
Wholesale prices are slowly dropping, but that does not mean that you're going to get to pay less right now.
Some people will look at this and they will say, are you kidding me? I mean, that's basically a house payment for a lot of people.
Prices have dropped. Customers are paying a whopping 7.2% more for used cars since this time last year.
Well, let's drive right into this. And while we look at a lot of vehicles, like there's no shortage of used and new vehicles on car lots these days because inventory is growing. Brand new vehicles like this, inventory keeps climbing. But the pricing that they're charting are prices based on wholesale. And wholesale are the vehicle prices that you're typically seeing at the auctions, the dealer auctions. When they don't sell it directly to the customer, they want to move these vehicles quickly, they send these vehicles off to auction. And from there, the dealers quickly try to dress it up, clean it up, and then send it back out, either put it on their lot or run it through the auction to gain a few extra bucks. But prices are charted to actually drop. We're seeing a peak back in 2021 at the end of the year where dealers were paying a max, where wholesale prices running through the auction houses were up to about $24,000. And we know the result of that was because of shortages. People were willing to pay just about anything just to get some of those vehicles onto their car lots to sell to the customers because they didn't have inventory. Neither could they find used or new. They needed something, and a lot of dealers were overpaying. And of course, we saw the peak, $24K for the average transaction price back in 21. But other than a few blips, we've actually seen this steady downward trend and downward pressure of used car prices, and we're now at a new all-time low for wholesale prices trading hands at the auctions.
The relief may only be short-lived. Longer term, industry insiders have serious questions about the direction the auto market is headed in.
So it seems pretty clear to me, if you've got a lower price in the wholesale market, that must be transitioned and transferred down to you as the customer. Well, if you assume that, you'd be wrong.
Economists say that dealers are paying less for cars right now and customers are paying more, so they suggest that dealers are keeping the profit.
A big part of the reason a lot of these prices are dropping at the wholesale market is because a lot of these vehicles are being held onto a lot longer by customers. But because of the high interest rates that popped up, as well as the increasing cost of these base MSRP of a lot of vehicles, people are choosing to keep their vehicles a lot longer.
Now, economists blame inflation and the imbalance between demand and supply. That is why used car dealers are keeping their prices high right now, because they know they can.
12.7 to 12.9 years on average is the average age of a vehicle nowadays. So naturally, a lot of these vehicles wind up on the dealer lots, wind up in the auction houses. And of course, what that does is drops the overall quality, the value actually available to the customer. Well, if you have a lower quality vehicle, sometimes accident history unknown, run hard, put away wet, usually a lot higher mileage, and as well generally not taken care of, that means that's naturally going to drive the wholesale prices down. That's a big factor. So now, instead of having a lot of these late model vehicles like this, all of these vehicles that are 2-3 years old that are high quality, relatively low mileage, those are harder to come by and they're commanding a much bigger dollar. But generally on the wholesale market, the vehicles that are making a lot to the dealers' auctions are more lower quality vehicles, high mileage, poor condition overall. Vehicles like this, for example, older vehicles like this older Pontiac, older Nissan with high mileage, accident history, burn history, and other problems like this, and generally poorly taken care of vehicles like this. Or even vehicles like that, accident history, scratched rims, banged up paint, scuffed all to no end, and as well, of course, paint peeling and burnt out headlights. So most customers, if you're looking for a high mileage worn out vehicle, yes, prices are going down and you will be able to get some deals there. You're going to get a lot more options to buy older vehicles, and a lot of those will be flooding the market. We're going to see a lot of options for poorly taken care of vehicles. But about 3 years ago, when interest rates start to spike, less and less people start to borrowing money for a new vehicle, particularly leases. And what we're seeing are vehicle lease numbers that were in that 800,000-900,000 vehicles leased in a year. All of a sudden, the following years, we're down to about 300,000 or 400,000 leases. And when those leases come back, which 3 years ago, that puts us right smack dab in this time frame, within the next 6 months, we're going to see what's left of those leases that came out during that peak interest rate season. So the problem becomes then getting a late model vehicle just off of lease is going to be harder and harder to find. Get yourself a nice vehicle that's been well taken care of, unabused. And a lot of them, obviously, if they're lease returns, there's a lot of stipulations to make sure that vehicle's been taken care of and the mileage is not that high, because there's penalties associated with high mileage lease returns. So realistically, what we're going to see are hard to find or harder to find late model vehicles with little mileage, unabused, and those are the vehicles that are often you're going to be paying top dollars for. The scarcity is going to rise, and to get your hands on a late model vehicle, you're going to have to pay a little bit of a premium. Now, the unfortunate part is there is a limit, because a lot of people are going to look at a 2-year-old vehicle and say, hey, you know what, do I need to pay that much when I can pay another $3,000 to get a brand new version? Probably not. There's still that cap, and now with incentives on brand new vehicles, as well as prices starting to drop, it means that there may be more deals coming your way. So are prices going to drop on used car market? Have they been dropping? They have been dropping wholesale, and you could still get yourself some great deals on older models like this older Volkswagen Jetta right here, or well-used cars like this that maybe have a ton of miles but still run fairly well. There's a good deal there. Or older vans like this, maybe pickup trucks that aren't quite showroom condition like that, and even older Jeeps. Haven't seen a Patriot like this around for a while, but those are the kind of vehicles you're probably going to get better deals on, because they're generally higher mileage, they're older, and often have a lot of history or stories behind them. But if you want to get something late model, it's going to continue to be a challenge, where we see the cycle going over and over, with obviously reducing inventories, hard to find inventories on late model vehicles. Say, for example, a 2-year-old vehicle with 25,000 miles on it is going to be a tough find, and if you find them, you're probably going to be paying the premium dollar. Because the age-old question is always got to be asked. Do you buy a brand new vehicle like this brand new Pathfinder here? We see a 24 SL 4-wheel drive, and you can get this for $58,000 right there. Or do you just skip it and get yourself a 3-year-old version for $35,000? But when you get yourself one that's 1 year, 2 years old with 20,000 miles on it, you're going to pay the mass majority of that price, and it's literally not worth it. So I also promised you why I don't think this is necessarily the best time to buy yet. Clearly, with these prices on the wholesale market going down, that's quality, that caliber of vehicle that has history to it, high mileage, that's always going to be available. The real question is, what does that low mileage late model vehicle look like for marketplace? Well, you're going to be paying premium, and it looks like it's going to be like that for a while. However, there are interest rates promised to drop down here very shortly. If you're looking at that, you might save a little bit on interest payments on your new vehicle or your used vehicle. But realistically, if you've been eyeing up this gem for a while and you think, you know what, if I wait for 6 months, 8 months, I might be able to get myself a good deal because prices are trending downwards. Unfortunately, vehicles like this that have low mileage on them and they're quality brands are generally going to hold the value a lot better. And you're probably not going to get any much better deal in a year from now as you would today. It's almost at the point where if you find something you like this and you've been eyeing it up for a while, the only thing that's really going to hold you back are, do you have the money, and what do the interest rates look like? Well, I can tell you in 6 months to a year, you might see a couple of basis points drop, but generally speaking, that might have a small impact right now for lending on new or used vehicles. But at the end of the day, as we watch the new car market continue to push down, the downward pressure from the new vehicle might impose a little additional strain on the late model quality used vehicles. But I don't know, it's going to take some time before we see that actually kick into place. And that little bit of downward pressure from the brand new vehicles are more than offset by the fact there's going to be an imminent shortage of quality late model vehicles. We're pretty much in a stalemate position. You're likely not going to see anything too drastic in the quality used vehicle segment. And as we see in the wholesale sector, you've got lots of choices. So if you want to get a good deal on those vehicles in that $5,000 to $10,000, maybe $12,000 range, you've definitely got choices. I don't see that changing much for the next foreseeable future. But on the used car late model market, pretty much if you see it, you like it, you buy it. And of course, if you love the video, you're gonna love to check these out. They're really gonna resonate. Hope to see each and every one in the next one. See you real soon. Bye-bye.